Hello and welcome to Byju's IAS. Let's get started and look into our daily quiz. Since it's a Sunday, we would have the static part of our discussion. The subject that we have chosen is ancient history. Let's look into the first question. The theme of Mara Vijaya has been painted in the caves of, is it Ajanta, Bag, Baja or Elephanta caves? The answer to this is Ajanta. What is this concept of Mara Vijaya? We know for the fact that when it comes to Buddhism, Buddha wanted to understand the meaning of life. He did not know why there was this life cycle of birth and death, which is where he enters into the mode of meditation. As Buddha was in meditation, there was one of the Satans, according to Buddhist tradition, who wanted to interfere from achieving this virtuous path. So, who is this Mara? Mara happens to be a Satan. So, anyone who's entering that particular path of righteousness, it is this Satan called as Mara who will interfere, who will dissuade that particular person from entering the fold of enlightenment. So basically, when we speak about Mara in a philosophical concept, this is nothing but desire. So any person who is able to conquer the desire and its feelings through his mind will achieve what is called as this particular path of enlightenment. So when it comes to Buddha, since he was able to conquer Mara, that is the desire, it is called as Mara Vijaya. So what is this Mara Vijaya? It is the tumult of mind that Buddha underwent at the time of enlightenment. So this is present in cave number 26, where in Ajanta caves. Now let's look into the next practice question. Consider the following pairs. Foreign travelers visited India during the rule of. So we have different foreign travelers who visited India. So they visited during the rule of a particular king. So this particular question is asking whether the foreign traveler and the regime is correctly matched. We have Fahin who visited India during the rule of Chandragupta I, Hyun Song who visited the rule during the period of Harshavardhana, Megasthenes during the period of Chandragupta Maurya. Which of the above is or correctly matched? The answer to this is 2 and 3 only. Why? That is because Fahin, who is from China, did not visit during the period of Chandragupta I, but instead it was during the period of Chandragupta II. Because the first option is wrong, that is why the answer to this is 2 and 3. When we look into the explanation, Fahin was a Chinese Buddhist monk. He visited India during the reign of Vikramaditya, who was also called as Chandragupta. He is known for his visit to Lumbini and his voyage is described in Travelogue, record of the Buddhist kingdoms. Then when we speak about Huangzhou, he was a Chinese traveler who visited India during the supremacy of Harshavardhana. Siuki, or the records of the Western world, was written by him. Kindly remember, we have a link in our website. If you are visiting our website, you will have the entire history of these foreign travelers and the regime that during which they had visited India. And when it comes to Megasthenes, he was a great ambassador who was sent by Seleucus during the period of Chandragupta Maurya. Now let's look into the next practice question. Which of the following statements is or correct? The Harappans produced wheat in the region of Mehergarh, barley, groundnuts, peas, sesame, mustard, millets and rice, especially in the region of Lothal. The shape of the Harappan seals was square and the writings were from left to right. Which of the statements are correct? The answer to this is none. Why? That is because when you look into the first option, yes, they did produce all these crops, but they did not produce groundnuts during the period of Harappan civilization. And at the same time, the shape of the Harappan seals was square, but the writings on it was not from left to right, but instead it was from right to left. So the answer to this is none. Why have we asked such questions? Because UPSC in the past has asked questions about crops, it has asked questions about animals, and it has asked questions about coins and their writings when it comes to a particular civilization and a king. So it becomes important for us to understand some of the important factual data. When it comes to agriculture, it was one of the important source of subsistence for the Harappan civilization. So what did they grow? They grew wheat, barley, peas, sesame, mustard, millets as well as rice. And when it comes to the Harappan region, the Harappan people were the earliest to produce the cotton. Because they were the producers of the cotton, the Greeks called this particular region as Sindh, which is derived from Sindh. Now, when it comes to the domestication of animals, they were practiced on a large scale. We can see oxen, buffaloes, goats, sheep, and pigs were domesticated, and at the same time, they also kept asses and camels, which were used as beasts of burden. Now, when we look into the next part of the question, it speaks about the seals. The seals were square in shape, and both the sides of the seals were written, and it was written in Kharosthi style, which means it was from right to left and not from left to right. Now let's look into the next practice question. The fourth Buddhist council was held under the patronage of, is it Emperor Ashoka, Emperor Kanishka, King Ajatashatru, or Kalasoka? The answer to this is Emperor Kanishka. When we look into the Buddhist councils, they are six in number. Let's try and understand under whose regime different Buddhist councils came into prominence. When we look into the first Buddhist council, it was held under the patronage of King Ajatashatru. When it comes to the second Buddhist council, it was under the patronage of Kalasoka. The third Buddhist council was under the patronage of Emperor Ashoka. The fourth Buddhist council was held under the patronage of Emperor Kanishka. The fifth was under the patronage of King Mindon of the Kingdom of Burma. The sixth was under the patronage of Prime Minister Yunu of Republic of Myanmar. Now, when we focus on the fourth Buddhist council, it was convened in Kashmir, and it was presided over by Vasumitra and Ashwagosha. The agenda of Buddhist council was the reconciliation of various conflicts between different schools of thought. We know for the fact that Buddhism has different schools of thought. It can be Tantric, it can be Hinayana, and the Mahayana school of thoughts. So there were conflicts, people were deviating away from the core principles of Buddhism. This is where the fourth Buddhist council becomes very important, as they wanted to reconcile or sort out the differences between different schools of Buddhism. The Hinayana and Mahayana sect of Buddhism diverged after this particular council. Now let's look into the next practice question. Which of the following reforms were initiated by King Ashoka after the Kalinga War? Kalinga War caused Ashoka to become an extreme pacifist. He sent missionaries for the propagation of Buddhism to Sri Lanka and Central Asia. The killing of animals to a large extent was also stopped. Which of the statements are correct? The answer to this is 2 and 3. When you look into the first option, Kalinga War caused Ashoka to become an extreme pacifist. That is wrong. That is because he also wanted to ensure that peace in the system, peace in the region was present. So what does he do? He wanted to also maintain a large army. This large army wanted to ensure peace in that particular dynasty, in that particular region, for which requirement of army was a necessity. So he did not become extreme pacifist, but he wanted to make sure that there was prevalence of peace in that particular region. Now let's look into the explanation part of it. He expounded human treatment of animals, servants, and prisoners. He asked everyone to avoid animal slaughter and sacrifice to a large extent. So many people who followed this particular principles of dharma or dhamma to an extent started cutting down on the consumption of animals. So to a large extent it was reduced, and at the same time he also sent missions abroad to spread the word of Buddha. Who were engaged for this task? It is his son Mahinda and his daughter Sangamitra, who were sent to Sri Lanka. So kindly remember, he did not become the extreme pacifist, as there are no documental proofs which show that he disbanded the entire army. Now let's look into the next practice question. The official language of the Satavahanas was, is it Kannada, Prakrit, Sanskrit, or Telugu? The answer to this is Prakrit. When we look into the official language, it was Prakrit. All the documents were written in the official language, and the script that was used is the Brahmi script. Now let's look into the next practice question. Which of the following statements is or correct about schools of Indian philosophy? Lokayata is the oldest of the orthodox philosophical systems. Nyaya philosophy is characterized as materialistic and aesthetic school of thought. Samakya school of philosophy is known for its technique of logical thinking. Which of the statements are correctly matched? The answer to this is none. Why? That is because when we speak about older school of orthodox philosophical system, it is not Lokayata, but instead it is Samakya. Why? Because Lokayata is not the orthodox philosophical system, instead it is unorthodox. And the oldest happens to be Samakya, which happens to be the orthodox philosophical system and oldest in nature. Now when we look into the second option, it says Nyaya philosophy is characterized as materialistic and aesthetic school of thought. This is not speaking about Nyaya philosophy, instead it is about Lokayata. So Lokayata is one of those type of philosophies which rejects the existence of otherworldly entities, whether it is soul or God or afterlife as well. Now when we speak about the Nyaya school of philosophy, it is one of the philosophy which believes in logical thinking. So what is this logical thinking all about? If you have the proof, only then you can believe that particular philosophy. So this particular philosophy believes that all the human suffering is not because of something which is happening at the supernatural level, it is because of lack of knowledge and the correct knowledge to understand the mechanism. So when it comes to this particular question, Samakya school is the oldest orthodox philosophical system, Lokayata is about materialistic and aesthetic school of thought, and Nyaya is about the technique of logical thinking. Now let's look into the next practice question. Consider the following statements. The spread of Jainism in Karnataka is attributed to him. He gave up his throne and spent the last years of his life in Karnataka as a Jaina ascetic. The above statement describes about, is it Harsha, Samudragupta, Kumarapala or Chandragupta Maurya? The answer to this is Chandragupta Maurya. When we look into the explanation, Jainism gradually spread to Western India where the Brahmanican religion was weak. Jainas adopted the Prakrit language of the masses to preach their doctrines and discarded the Sanskrit language which was patronized by the Brahmins, and the spread of Jainism in Karnataka is attributed to Chandragupta Maurya. Eventually down the lane, he gave up his throne, he gave up his kingdom, and officially he became a Jain ascetic as well. Now let's look into the next practice question. Which of the following statements is or correct about Indo-Greeks? The Indo-Greeks were the first rulers in India to issue coins. Most of the Indo-Greek kings were Buddhists and the Buddhism flourished under their rule. Which of the statements are correct? The answer to this is both. When we look into the explanation bit, the Indo-Greek kingdom was ruled by over 30 Hellenistic kings. The kingdom started when Greco-Bactrian king Demetrius invaded India around 180 BC. He conquered southern Afghanistan and parts of Punjab. For about 25 years, the Indo-Greeks were under the Euthodemid rule, and most of the Indo-Greek kings were Buddhists and Buddhism flourished under their rule, and Greek influence is also seen in popularly called as the Gandhara school of art. Now let's look into the next practice question. Microliths, the miniature stone tool, was the characteristic feature of Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic or Chalcolithic. The answer to this is Mesolithic. Now let's look into the explanation. The prehistoric period was divided into different periods. What are those? Paleolithic period, Mesolithic, Neolithic, Chalcolithic and Iron Age. So kindly remember the order. There can be a question about the chronological order as well. So when we speak about Paleolithic age, it is called as the Old Stone Age, Mesolithic, Late Stone Age, Neolithic, New Stone Age, Chalcolithic, Stone Copper Age, and finally what we have is the Iron Age. Now when we speak about the Mesolithic period, one of the characteristic tools during this particular period is what is called as the microlith. So what is this microlith? It is a miniature stone tool usually made of cryptocrystalline silica, chalcedony or chat, both of geometrical and non-geometrical shape. During this period, men also started wearing clothes made of animal skin. The first human colonization of the Ganga plains happened during this particular period. So kindly remember all these important facts for your preliminary examination. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.